5 seconds. Literally, that is exactly how long I have to stop you from scrolling away right now. If I haven't hooked your absolute undivided attention by the time I finish this sentence, well, the data says you're already gone. That strict, unforgiving 5-second rule, it isn't just a guess, guys. It is the fundamental law of the internet today. And in this explainer, we are definitely not going to waste a single one of those precious seconds, because we're looking directly at a leaked blueprint. A literal step-by-step set of instructions given to scriptwriters to basically engineer virality. You know the feeling, right? You sit down just to check your email, and somehow 45 minutes later, you're deep into some breakdown about 15 cheap assets to buy this year. Ever wonder why you just can't look away? I mean, it feels organic. It feels like you just stumbled onto a really charismatic creator. But the reality? Oh, it is far more calculated. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on the actual scriptwriter's prompt used to create these highly engaging, super cinematic finance explainers. We're going to look at the exact instructions, the secret sauce, if you will, that dictates every single word, every image, and every emotional beat designed to keep a US audience completely glued to the screen. All right, Section 1, the viral blueprint, the wizard behind the curtain. Okay, let's really dive into this. To understand exactly how these creators manipulate our attention, we gotta look at their core DNA. You see, the blueprint we're analyzing, it doesn't just say, make a good script. No way. It specifically demands a hyper-specific blend of styles. It commands the writer to act like a top-tier creator and pull from very distinct, incredibly successful corners of the internet. The instructions explicitly demand a stylistic cocktail. You're literally required to blend the pristine, highly educational storytelling of Vox with the dramatic, high-stakes, almost cinematic style of MagnatesMedia. And then you sprinkle in the hyper-optimized pacing of Ali Abdaal and modern finance content. It's an exact formula. Take Vox's clarity, inject MagnatesMedia's drama, and package the whole shebang for the modern, fast-scrolling finance viewer. This ensures the content isn't just informative, it's a captivating, edge-of-your-seat experience that perfectly targets the sensibilities of a US audience. Moving right along to Section 2, Psychological Triggers, Hacking the Viewer's Mind. But listen, a cool style alone isn't going to keep you engaged for 10 whole minutes. This is where the blueprint shifts from standard production to straight-up psychological manipulation. The instructions demand a deeply emotional and slightly dramatic tone. It's not just some boring list of assets, it is a high-stakes journey. The scriptwriter is commanded to basically hack the viewer's mind by embedding specific psychological triggers into the narrative. And there are 3 specific triggers mandated to run continuously, right under the surface of the script to guarantee maximum viewer retention. First up, fear of missing out. Good old FOMO. This makes you feel like if you don't buy these 15 cheap assets, you're going to be left in the dust while everyone else gets rich. Then curiosity, which just keeps you waiting for the next item on the list. And finally, money growth, appealing to that base universal desire for financial security and success. The blueprint guarantees you'll keep watching because it's constantly pushing these 3 emotional buttons, one right after the other. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer contrast. We just talked about sophisticated psychological manipulation, blending cinematic styles, and leveraging complex human emotions like FOMO, right? Yet look at the strict requirement right there in the center. Simple American English, specifically at a grade 6 to 8 reading level. Crazy, right? But why? Well, because friction kills retention. If you have to stop and think about a complex word, boom, the spell is broken. By keeping the language universally accessible, those psychological triggers bypass your critical thinking entirely and go straight to your emotions. It just feels absolutely effortless to consume. Which brings us to Section 3, the 5-part script structure, a calculated timeline. So we've got the style, and we've got the psychological triggers. But how is it all actually put together? This isn't just some free-flowing conversation. It's a meticulously calculated timeline where absolutely every single second is mapped out in advance. I really want to walk you through this rigid 5-part structure because it is fascinating. Look at the precision here. At 0 seconds, bam, you need that powerful, curiosity-driven hook. By 10 seconds, you transition into an intro that builds even more curiosity. At the 1-minute mark, you finally start delivering the actual main content. But notice the 5-minute mark? A mid-video rehook? The blueprint actually knows that even with all these tricks, human attention naturally dips halfway through. So the writer is literally instructed to start the emotional journey over, grabbing you again before you can click away and carrying you straight through to the ending at the 9-minute mark. And within that massive block of main content, well, the execution have to be completely flawless. You don't just lazily list out the 15 assets. The blueprint outlines exactly how to handle them in a very specific sequence. Step 1, deliver the asset. Step 2, provide a mini explanation. Step 3, and honestly, this is absolutely crucial, ensure each one feels uniquely valuable and surprising. You have to use incredibly smooth transitions to connect these points so the viewer never ever feels a bump in the road. It's like a continuous, slippery slope of value and surprise that just keeps them sliding rapidly downward through the information, totally and completely immersed.
All right, on to section 4, visuals, pacing, and interrupts. Keeping the brain busy.
Let's move right into the stylistic polish and technical execution of this formula. Because let's be real, you can have the best script in the world, but if the pacing is off, the viewer gets bored immediately. The blueprint requires voiceover-friendly pacing and specific visual B-roll suggestions written right into the script to keep the brain busy. And there is a very specific metric used to achieve this: 20 to 30. That is the exact number of seconds the scriptwriter is allowed to go before they are required to execute a pattern interrupt. Now, a pattern interrupt is a sudden change, like a sound effect, a fast zoom, a dramatic shift in tone, or a totally new visual. It literally resets your attention span. The blueprint demands one every 20 to 30 seconds, without fail. In fact, to demonstrate exactly how jarring and effective a pattern interrupt can be to keep your brain engaged, I'm going to execute a sharp visual change for you, right now. Boom! Did your brain just wake up a little bit? That sudden text flash is a literal pattern interrupt. The blueprint demands constant visual shifts exactly like that to prevent you from getting bored and clicking away. And notice the direct command right there in the center: keep sentences short and punchy. That's another direct instruction from the source material: short sentences, punchy delivery, constant movement. You literally never give the viewer a chance to exhale until the very end. And this brilliantly illustrates how that constant, punchy momentum carries you all the way to the finish line, where the blueprint dictates the final moments of your attention. When we reach the ending, it's not just a casual goodbye. The source requires a perfectly balanced ending pairing two distinct things. On the left, a powerful takeaway. You give the audience a memorable lesson so they feel like consuming the content was a genuinely valuable use of their time. But immediately on the right, you pair it with a call to action, or CTA. Now that they feel good, you ask them to subscribe, or like, or click the next link. You deliver the value, and then you immediately extract the engagement. It's pure genius. So, what does this all mean? The crucial takeaway here is that the content you find yourself completely addicted to is rarely an accident. It is the result of highly engineered, battle-tested blueprints, just like the one we've explored in this explainer today. From that intense 5-second curiosity hook and the grade 6 reading level, to the continuous drumbeat of FOMO and those sneaky 20-second pattern interrupts, it's an absolute matrix of psychological triggers and rigid structure. So I want to leave you with this final thought. How many things have you watched just this week that perfectly followed this hidden blueprint without you even noticing? The next time you fall down a rabbit hole, I challenge you, see if you can spot the formula in real time. Because once you see the strings, you will absolutely never look at the puppet show the same way again.